Hi, so here we go with another bit of my story. Now this bit should actually have been the next bit, but because there is a programme on tonight on BBC One at 7:30 on the subject of stammering, and because of this I am going to include my bit of the story because it ties in, I'm sure, very well with what you will see on the TV. So, yes, I had a bad stammer, right from junior school days, right through senior school and onwards. I suffered quite a lot as a result of it. I was mimicked, I was bullied, I was given the most horrible nickname, which I will not repeat, and it was really not very nice at all. And this was right through junior school and senior school and beyond. I really didn't like talking to people at all. As you probably know, my name is Clyde Moore. And when you have a stammer, to say a word that begins with k or a word that begins with is nearly impossible. So yeah, I had a bit of a rough time. And I've got to be honest, the onset of puberty didn't help, because I could get nowhere with the girls. Absolutely nowhere. I was useless with the girls. Because of this stammer, because I couldn't mix, I couldn't chat, I couldn't do anything like this. And so this sort of followed me through school, and it was not a very happy time. But eventually I left school, started work with my dad in electronics. He had a radio and TV and electrical shop, and so I was working quite happily with him for a while. And then of course the RAF got me, so I had to go for national service. Now, so all this time I've been suffering with this stammer. Leading up to this RAF episode in my life, I was influenced quite a lot by some very attractive girls from 3 different Catholic schools. And I would mention, I remind you once again, if you watch my previous section, I am not from any sort of a Christian family. In fact, my mother was quite strongly anti-Christian, but that's another story, and there's a story behind that as well. But anyway, so yeah, so I had been strongly attracted by these various girls, and also my best friend in secondary school was also a Catholic, a member of a very good, strong Catholic who gave a wonderful example to everybody around them. They really were tremendous. But as I said, the RAF got me. And a lot of the events that happened in my life, in fact, were triggered, if you like, by my desire to find Miss Right, which I wasn't to find for a long time. But oh yes, and while I was doing my I did my training at RAF Yatesbury, and I was received into the church there by a Father Bowler, and so I've now become, if you like, a new Christian. And I had been attracted by this girl back home. I'd been out with her a couple of times, but of course I was in the RAF, and there were long gaps between when we saw each other. And as it turned out, she ended up going back to a broken engagement, so that didn't happen, if you like. But at this time, this is where the interesting story begins. Everybody was being posted out to the Far East. And I'm saying to myself, I don't want to go to the Far East. This lass back home, I want to see her, you know. And so I put my thinking cap on and thought, well, how can I make sure that I stay in England? Well, I thought, all the training schools are in England, so if I apply to be an instructor, I'm sure to stay in England. So I did just that. Now, think about this. This was the most stupid thing that I could ever have done. It really was incredibly stupid. I applied to be an instructor, and I stammer quite badly. And anyway, having applied, I then had to go and give a talk. Well, my subject at this time, I was teaching electronics sorry, no, I hadn't got to that stage yet. No, so I had to go and give this talk to a model class. And when I walked into this room, I nearly died of shock. I'd prepared this little 10-minute talk on a bit of electronic circuitry. When I walked in, they were all officers in this model class that I had to talk to. There was a wing commander at the side of the room, and he said, "What's your name?" Oh well, can you guess what happened? I made an utter fool of myself. I could not say my name. This officer sort of takes his glasses off and he says, "You've got a bit of a problem, haven't you?" So I managed to say, "Yes sir, but I'd like to have a try." Now bear in mind, I'm a new Christian. I've just joined the church. And so I get a piece of chalk in my hand, and I walk up to the blackboard and I give a faultless 10-minute talk. Faultless. Not one word went wrong. Now that was, to my mind, a small miracle. And out of the 24 applicants to be instructors, only 2 were accepted. And I was one of those 2, would you believe it? So I then went on a short course for instructors, and then I was posted to RAF Cosford, which was a boy entrance training station. And in fact my first class there was a class full of boys, 17-year-olds, who had finished their course and were killing time and killing instructors at the same time. So that was my introduction to teaching. And I could tell you some funny stories about my time as a teacher at RAF Cosford. But another interesting thing is, and there's some funny stories attached to this as well, but I'll not tell them now. I applied to be the camp disc jockey. Would you believe that? And I got the job as camp disc jockey. I don't know how all this happened. I really don't. It just happened. And so I ended up as the disc jockey at RAF Cosford. During this time now, since this small miracle has happened when I applied to be an instructor, the stammer is still there. It's decreasing a little. The one thing I hated to do was to read from a book. I could not stand in front of a class and read from a book. If I did, I messed it up. So there I am. I'm camp disc jockey and I'm teaching boy entrance. Meanwhile, the stammer is reducing. The Lord didn't take it all away completely, you know, just like waving a magic wand, but he waved some sort of a wand anyway, because I could speak and I could teach. And so when I finished my time, when it came time for demob from the RAF, I asked myself, what shall I do now? I mean, I'd started in electronics with my dad, and I'd done I'd started a course in radio and TV servicing at Blackburn Tech, and then I'd stayed in electronics while I was in the RAF. But then I thought, what shall I do? Well, when I thought about it, I was quite enjoying the teaching. So I applied for teacher training college, and I went to Strawberry Hill in Twickenham, which was a Catholic teacher training college. During all this time, of course, I'm still ratcheting around hunting for Miss Right and not finding her, and getting absolutely nowhere with anybody. So after I finished at the RAF, I applied for college, got into Strawberry Hill, finished my course at Strawberry Hill, and then went teaching in Kirby near Liverpool. After that, I went teaching in Accrington, which was back close to where I lived, and then I ended up teaching in Carlisle. So that's the story, and the stammer has been going down all the time since then, and you've got to really listen now to sort of pick up any of the traces of the stammer which I had. But it was a rough time, and as I'm sure you'll hear many others say, I haven't seen this programme yet, but I'm sure you many others say it's not funny, not by any means. And it certainly didn't help me to find Miss Right. In fact, I didn't meet my wife until I was in my second teaching post. Well, no, that's not true. No, I was in Kirby, because at the time I was commuting from Burnley to Liverpool. I'd tried the spelling digs and didn't like that, and I'd gone back home, and it was then when I met my wife Anne. But that's another story for another time. So I will leave it at that. Okay, and I hope you found this a little interesting. And please give us a tick and a like or a subscribe or whatever, and visit my channel on YouTube. You'll find it at Jacob Clive Moore. That's the name it goes under. All right, thank you, bye bye, and thank you for watching.